Hey gang, Warren here. Haven't made a video in a little while, so I figured I'd make one up for you. And I definitely haven't made a video since I decided to start medaling up. So I figured I'd show you guys what it looks like on this end of the fence when you start getting into the kingdom. And I'm actually getting pretty close to the Empire League now. It's going to take another, looks like 56 medals before I get to that, which doesn't seem like a lot, but once you get to this point, it gets harder and harder. So I've got an army set up here, do some serious damage. Got the tanks and the artillery with the riflemen and machine guns supporting them. So usually what I've been doing is, if I'm going to be off for any length of time, I'll build that army, because it takes a while to build, especially with the artillery and the supply carts. It's almost an hour on all three barracks in order to put that all together. Looks like I got hit for just the town center. 4 medals isn't too bad. A lot of food, but I'm not too worried about that. I've got more food than I know what to do with. As you can see, I've got all my mills outside the walls anyway, so I'm not really worried about that. So I'm gonna attempt to find a target with a lot of medals. Yes, I want to cancel that peace treaty. And hopefully we'll find something that's worth a lot of medals that isn't going to be too hard to overcome. This guy's only worth 1, so we're just going to skip over him. Actually, it takes quite some time to usually find a target that's worth bothering with. You may think that you want to hit for resources, but it's definitely not the case, at least not for me. I'm not hard up for any resources by any means, other than maybe a little bit of oil. And I'm getting a good amount of resources every time I win a battle, just from the league bonus. So I haven't really bothered raiding for resources. If after I take a town center or get some stars, there's just resources sitting out there waiting for me to take them, then yeah, I'll grab them. But other than that, I haven't really bothered. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, I've been skipping over a lot of bases. Some bases like this one are pretty average bases, so you can tell a legitimate player is playing them, but there's a lot of bases at this medal range where you'll see maxed out walls or nearly maxed out walls, level 30 generals. Yeah, this guy's just crazy. There's no way that he's getting all that legitimately. So I hope the developers take care of some of that in the near future, because it's rather annoying that every other base that you search for is a base that's maxed out everything, and pretty much no way to take it out without losing everything for 1 star at best. Just not worth anybody's time. It's just an aggravation, because most of them don't even play anymore. And we're having a hard time finding a target here. Everybody's only worth 1 medal. Usually have to find somebody who's at least at the top end of the Kingdom League or the Empire League, just to have a shot at finding somebody worth some medals. I've come across a handful of them that'll be worth 20 or 25 medals for a 5-star. That's really what I'm looking for. This guy's worth 10, but looks like he'd be a pain in the ass to take out. Level 160, he's got all the buffs. For 10 medals, it's not really worth it. So we'll keep scouting. This is unfortunately the most boring aspect of it. Usually I'm able to find somebody by now who's at least somewhat of a good target. That would be worth some medals. I don't know, maybe it's the time of day where a lot of people who are that level are all on, so they're not available to be attacked. I think we might cut a piece of this video. So, at long last, we found somebody worth 35 medals. It's going to be a hell of a base to take out, but definitely going to give it a good shot here. You can see the two bunkers sitting right next to the town center. I'm going to try and do a betrayal on those. Sabotage the castle, so we don't have to worry about dealing with those little coin generals. There's the quick victory star. Let's go with it. I got a lot of crap going on here. Looks like I lost my it's definitely looking like we're going to see 4 stars here anyway. Unfortunately, not a full 5, but it's okay. And that was nice, taking out all the defensive buildings. And 83% got all the trade goods. So overall not bad, 86% on him. So that was a good hit. It's 28 medals right there, which is a big deal at this level. Hard to come across 28 medals all at once. You're usually picking away 1 or 2 at a time. So now we're at 2572. which is nice. We're down to a fraction of what we had, unfortunately, but we were able to salvage the tanks by taking out all those defenses. So at this point, now that I have utilized that army, we're going to build some real cheap troops, a bunch of Fusiliers, because I just got around to starting the upgrade to the Alpini recently. I hadn't bothered with it just because the upgrade amount seemed pretty low to me. They only get a handful of hit points and like 9 DPS. It just wasn't really worthwhile to do right away. I had the extra food lying around. I'm running out of things to upgrade with food. So I figured, what the heck, I'd do that upgrade now that I'm using it more and more. I never used to use any sort of melee for the longest time, and then when I started getting more medals, I realized that in order to maintain my medals at all without losing my entire army every time like you just saw that I did, was to just perform some hit and run tactics. So we're going to restore our mercenaries there, got some more Flampanzers, and I like having a little extra melee in the mercenary corner, so we'll get the Gurkhas. So we're down to one sider, unfortunately, but the nice thing about doing the hit and run tactic, just dropping 1 or 2 Fusiliers right next to town center that you find open, and then luring all the defenders away into a remote corner of the map, and then taking out the town center. As long as they have any sort of trade goods whatsoever, you're getting those trade goods out of the town center. So you're able to pretty quickly restore your trade goods if you start running low and don't have any citizens to get more, which is usually my problem. I try to restore them as often as I can whenever I have citizens around before I start a new task for them, but I burn through trade goods really quickly. Between refreshing blessings, which I'm about to do, try to always run a fortification and a tower blessing, just to give my enemies a hard time getting to that town center. Hopefully keep them from getting any stars, or minimize what they're going to get out of me. I don't want to do that. That's a pretty big waste. Alright, so while those are cooking, we got 15 Fusiliers and some tanks. That should be enough to at least do a hit and run on somebody, so we'll do a couple of those while I've got some time. So here, we're not even looking for medals, we're basically just looking for anybody who's got a town center that looks like it's off to the side, or relatively easy to access, and just basically gunning for it. Try and pull the defenders out of it, because a lot of people are privy to the knowledge of keeping cannons on defense now is really devastating, especially to an army full of Fusiliers. So I try to just drop one, lure all those guys out of there, and then pull them away so I can take out the town center without any defenders trying to attack me. And here we go with more cheaters, as you can see, more maxed out walls. If only everybody was able to afford that. Well, if everyone was able to afford that, they would need a serious upgrade to all the attack power of all the units, because getting through one of those walls, even with an engineer, is absolutely ridiculous. Those walls have probably 30 or 35,000 hit points. So, usually it's a little easier to find a target with a town center on the outside of the base. The other thing that you really have to make sure you check for is a lot of bases will have forbidden cities on them, and you gotta check and see before you gun for the town center that you find in the corner of the map, you gotta make sure that they don't have a forbidden city hidden off someplace or stuffed behind a wall where you're not going to be able to take it out. Because, as you can see, if I lose a battle, I'm losing 39 medals, and that would put a serious hurt on me. So, unfortunately, no targets yet. Up to this point, it's been a little bit easier to find those sort of bases. Typically, if I'm running a full army full of tanks and fusiliers, I have a little bit more leeway to where I wouldn't be hunting for something so easy to take out. I'd have some wall sappers set up and more tanks and fusiliers, be able to blast through a couple walls and deal with things kind of like this one. If I had a little bit more army strength, I'd probably go for that, but I'm not rolling with much right now, so we're going to have to skip it for now. Yeah, same with that one right there. 2 towers, probably be relatively easy to take with a handful of tanks, but I'm not willing to take the risk right now. If I see those maxed out walls, I just immediately skip over it. There's no reason to even really look. They're almost all built the same. See, here's another one. Actually, this one may not be so bad. I think I'm going to give this one a shot. There's a Coliseum, so they're not using a forbidden city. Got the 1 cannon tower that's under construction, so I should be able to take this out relatively quickly. I'm going to drop the 1, bring him right into range, and there's that cannon. So we want to make sure that we pull that away as fast as we can. So we're going to give it a little time for the rally to cool down. You want to be able to get right in there as soon as you start pulling those defenders away, because once they've targeted, they won't target again until their intended target is killed. So there they go. They're starting to move towards what I just dropped. Put down some tanks and fusiliers and go for that town center, and it took it out a little bit faster than I was hoping. Those tanks will endure long enough to get the town center, which they did. And there's the victory. I really don't have enough to try and go for the trade goods on this guy. He's got some gold lying around. His oil is pretty stashed away, but I could use some gold. So I'll just drop a couple of fusiliers in there. Hit his market just for the hell of it. Not getting very much out of it, but it's more than what I had. So we'll get those guys rebuilt. Looks like we got a few more fusiliers ready now. We're up into the 30 range, so might be able to do something a little bit more crafty on the next attack. We'll see what we encounter. It wouldn't be a bad one with some tanks available, but I think we've only got 1 tank. So the idea of this really as you can kind of see, is just to kind of keep things rolling. I'm running with a pretty minimal army. Unless I run a training blessing, which I can't do right now. As you saw before, I have pretty much no cider available until I raid some from a couple of these attacks. So I'm just trying to make do with what I have for now until some of it rebuilds. One thing that I found very infuriating is a lot of people at this level use an exploit where if you force close your game while you're in the middle of an attack, even if you've lost the attack, you're still getting stuff out of it, and you're not losing the medals for it. So you'll spring all your opponent's traps and get some of the resources, but you won't technically lose the attack. And it's really aggravating because a lot of people have done that to me. And I feel like it would be beneath me to try and pull a stunt like that. Despite how tempting it is sometimes just to try and stay on an even level. But it is what it is. Hopefully they'll address that at some point soon. That one doesn't look too good either. And as you can see, there's a pretty clear difference between the way bases are built in the lower metal range and the way bases are built once you get to this point. There's a lot more thought put into them usually. Almost always you're going to find a town center defended. Here's one that's actually set up very similar to mine, with the wonders kind of run in the middle and the crisscross pattern. Actually, a lot of those traps are sprung. If I had a couple of tanks to be able to just run right through there and take out that town center, probably approach from the top, wouldn't even be hitting any of the anti-tank guns, but only got one tank, so doubtful that it would make it. And I'm actually going to return to my town in a minute here. If in one or two more bases I don't find somebody, yeah, I think now's the time. I'll have a few more units to work with. Since they've been building while I've been gone. Let's see where we're at now. Yeah, we're at 51 Fusiliers. And have some tanks ready soon. And real struggle to find a base that's ideal for doing what I'm looking to do. Now here's what I'm talking about right here. You've got a town center on the outside of the base, but a forbidden city walled off, and it's probably not going to be able to be taken with just Fusiliers, so we have to pass on that one. But you have to be very careful of that. This one actually may not be too bad. Going to attract the attention of those two mortar towers. But the Colosseum's right there, so he's not using any Forbidden City, so I'm going to go ahead and drop one, get him in there, which he didn't even make it. That's okay. He's only worth 1 medal, so it's not like I'm needing to get the quick victory star. I just need a star from this guy. Get these guys set up, get some of this riffraff out of the way, and I'm sure I'll trip traps, which I just did. What I'm really looking to do is trip the traps close to the town center. That should keep them busy for a little bit. There's probably more traps set up in there. Yep, right there. Keep the barbed wire. Now we've got those guys over there. Oh, so close. And I'm actually running out of options here. Really don't want to do this, but I'm going to have to drop my supply wagon over here to lure them away. And get my tank in there. Finally, we got the town center. That was a lot more effort than I thought it was going to be, but at least we got it. And that's the unfortunate thing about having to hunt for town center on the outside of the base. If you don't find one, not quite sure what you're going to encounter between the edge of the base and your town center, which, as you saw, I encountered quite a bit. I'm actually going to set up an army here to do a large-scale raid next time. Got our tanks, our artillery supply wagons, so we'll stock up on riflemen, which actually, the way this is built here, I should put them in this order. Get these guys off of here. And the Fusiliers really have no place in a 5-star army, so we'll get rid of those. One thing I wish I could do is you can dump your unwanted troops by just tapping them and hitting that little minus button that you saw me just do, and you unfortunately can't do that with your war tactics. I haven't really used first aid much at all lately. I'd love to pack another betrayal Speaking of which, I don't think I ever set up, which I didn't. Never set up to rebuild my tactics, so I'll get those going too. 2 hours, 49 minutes, that's a long time. But it's probably going to be all of that before I get back on to do some more attacks. So, not a huge deal. But like I was saying with the first aid, I'm just going to have to use it at some point in a battle just to get rid of it. Because I find that I hardly ever use it. And to be able to have maybe a second betrayal to take another heavy tank over in a battle would be nice. Looks like no generals available right now, which is unfortunate. But another couple hours will be all set. So, I think that's it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be back relatively soon with another video.